Welcome back to the MBP Movie Podcast, and as usual, I'm joined by my brother Dan. In fact, I should say I'm Bob. I didn't say my name first. Joined by my brother Dan. Yeah, let's just start again.
You're just gonna keep rolling.
All right, okay. I'll start. Let's just keep it all in, right?
Oh yes, Man United won. There we go.
Oh god. So Dan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good. I was going to ask you what you've been watching, but we've got a lot to get through tonight, so I won't bother.
Yeah, we'll just get on it.
And we are joined by, I feel like I need to give him a little nickname. I'll call it Rockin' Ryan Huelsman. Ryan, how you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing pretty good today. How about you guys?
I'm all right, yeah?
Yeah,
Saturday, enjoying the weekend?
Mm-hmm, very much so.
Till
tomorrow night, and then we go, work tomorrow.
Yeah, work tomorrow, yeah. But it's only a 4-day week. I don't know. Do you guys get Easter off like we do? Do you get Good Friday?
Some places do, and I probably won't. I've had the last 2 weeks. I've had 4-day weeks, work weeks, because I spent last weekend down in Louisiana visiting my boyfriend. So I had Friday off, and then last Monday off.
Oh, so you had a long weekend last weekend.
Yeah, it was nice, and I miss it.
Good out there. I had a long weekend of a week as well, which was nice. But then you've always got to go back to work afterwards, haven't you? So.
Exactly. Now, the job I had for 2 years prior to what I do now, my quote unquote work week was Thursday to Monday. So I always kind of had joked with friends and family that, when people are complaining about Mondays, to me, Mondays were Fridays. Well, now that I actually work Monday to Friday, I understand why people hate Mondays.
Yeah. We're not the best. Right then, I think we should just jump straight into the news and chit chat.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like we need a little theme there, Dan, like diddle-diddle, something like that.
Yeah.
That's something in. Right, so first bit of news I want to talk about is the Lion King trailer. And I guess I'll just start with you guys. What did you think to it, and are you looking forward to it?
I thought it was great. I thought it looks really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I got cinema to see it. I might watch it on Sky, but I don't know.
Miserable Dan as always. Ryan, what did you think of it?
I think it looks pretty good too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning towards wanting to see it in theaters. I didn't go see The Jungle Book, that remake in theaters, because I just had no emotional attachment.
Did you like it? Have you watched it?
I have not watched. Have I watched what? Jungle Book?
Yeah.
No, I still haven't. I really do want to, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
I really liked it. I thought it was brilliant.
I didn't like it. So.
Yeah, but don't listen to Bob.
I don't like the original cartoon, no. So
it's not a superhero movie, is it? So horror.
Hey, my favorite. I love Hercules.
Usually people say that about me. Have Disney do a live action Hercules remake. I'd be fine.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's basically Superman in it, that film. So.
Exactly. I think it looks really good. I don't understand the complaints.
Has there been some I haven't seen any?
I've just people have been doing shot by shot comparisons with Simba with Timon and Pumbaa, and comparing that to the original animated, and it's not as lively, I guess you could, in the original cartoon.
Yeah,
they're kind of swinging. This is just more. I just attribute that as this is more just kind of realistic. And
because it's supposed to be in it. Yeah.
So, and I'm okay with it. I don't know if I'll go see it in theaters though.
Yeah.
I want to, but if I just doesn't happen, I'm not gonna lose a night's sleep over it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, I'm just going to be a bit controversial here before I get on to what I thought of the trailer. But I kind of feel like these live-action remakes have been a bit pointless, and I kind of feel like they're not really offering you anything different to the cartoon. And Beauty and the Beast, which I did actually enjoy, I still feel like the cartoon's better.
Cinderella's not the same as the cartoon.
No, not Cinderella.
And what about Maleficent? Because the reason why I loved
that was good.
Maleficent was because it started off, and you think, oh, it's just going to be Sleeping Beauty, but from Maleficent's point of view, and then it takes a fork in the road and does its own thing, and that's why I really loved it.
Yeah, and I see, and that's one I do think had a point to it, because it wasn't just a cartoon remade into live action.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, with stuff like The Jungle Book and this, it's still kind of animation in it because it's CGI. So it makes me think, well, you're just redoing a cartoon but in CGI format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't really call these things. I mean, with Jungle Book, you could, because it actually had like a human character in it.
Yeah, there was a human.
But with Lion King, it's not really technically live action. It's just, yeah, you're right. It's just like photorealistic CGI animation.
But like I say, in saying that, I thought the trailer was absolutely fantastic and it looks really good. And I'm actually not a fan of the cartoon as well. This film. Yeah, I know.
All right, I quit. I'm hanging up.
So the fact that I thought the trailer looked so good was a bit of a shock to me in a sense, which I wasn't expecting. So I think again, I don't know if it'd be a cinema job. It's one of them for me where probably on television, but you never know. Never say never.
Exactly. Yeah.
So moving on to some horror, and I'm pretty sure Ryan, you said you're not into horror. Is that right? Or
yeah.
You do like horror.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. Well, have you heard about the Child's Play remake?
Yes.
Well, I was all against it, and then since I've been all against it, Mark Hamill has been announced to be playing Chucky, voicing Chucky, and Bear McCreary has been announced to do the music, and I've heard a little sample, and it sounds brilliant, so now I'm excited for this film. At the end of the day, the original's still there. If we don't like it, we can just never watch this one again. So I think this is one I probably will go to pictures to see this.
It's one that I'm kind of leaning towards, like, would I like to see it? Do I have an interest in it? Yeah. If it doesn't happen, okay, then I'll just wait for Netflix or however I can see it. But you can't go wrong with Mark Hamill. It doesn't to me. It doesn't matter the quality of the product the end product as a whole. Mark Hamill's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, regardless. That's what I thought as well. Yeah. And I know now the music's going to be good because Bear McCreary, who does like Walking Dead and stuff, he's got
Walking Dead, and I'm looking forward to Bear McCreary's Godzilla score. I'm really looking forward to that. Has he done
Godzilla as well? Right.
Yeah, he's doing the new Godzilla.
Right. Okay, that was pretty good as well. That film, didn't it? You got any thoughts on this, Dan?
What were we talking about again?
Child's Play.
Child's Play. I haven't seen. You said there's a trailer, or?
It's just a tease for music. I thought I tagged you in it, but I must have forgot.
Oh no, I didn't. No.
Oh right. Well, Bear McCreary's got.
If you've got Mark Hamill doing voice though, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We all know Joker's awesome, so.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to bring in like any kind of Jokerism into his performance.
I reckon he probably will.
Yeah, a little bit at least.
Yeah, I definitely think he will.
I think even if it ain't deliberate, you're going to spot stuff.
Yeah, probably, because he's... I mean, even knowing... Before I knew it was Mark Hamill, I didn't think it sounded anything like him, but knowing now it is, I can tell it's Mark Hamill, if that makes sense. There's bits about his voice that had very, very much Mark Hamill's own voice and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. Before I knew, I didn't know. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to that one. Another thing, and this isn't really news, this is more of a rumour, but Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker have been teasing Rush Hour 4.
They've been talking about it for a while, but...
Yeah, but it sounds like it might actually be going... They're trying to get into production now. Apparently they're working on a script. So, what, Ryan, are you a fan of the Rush Hour films? Have you seen them?
I know I've seen the first two. If I've seen the third one, it's been such a long time that I don't recall. But I would be all on board with the fourth one. I know that, I grew up with the first two, and I absolutely loved them. Yeah, as a kid, so.
The third one's not very good, to be honest. I watched them again not so long back. And
the third one's funny, but it's like superficial funny. There's no story to the film or anything. It's
just not very good.
No, I should check it out at least just once, just so I can say I've seen it.
Right then, moving on. Game of Thrones actor Ian Glenn has been cast as Bruce Wayne in season 2 of Titans. So what do you guys think of that? Dan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, well, he's brilliant in Game of Thrones, so I think that's pretty good casting.
I never watched Game of Thrones, so.
Well, new season starts
Same.
on Monday,
Same.
so can't wait.
Have you not watched Game of Thrones, Ryan, or have you?
I have seen. All right, this is gonna be weird. I have seen the first season in its entirety, but it's been like a year since then. Right. And I've also seen the last episode of season 7.
All right.
It is very weird. Like there is no order to what I've seen. So, but I know Ian Glenn from Resident Evil Apocalypse and Extinction.
Was he in the Resident Evil Apocalypse?
Yeah. He was at the end of Apocalypse, and then he was the main bad guy. He transformed into the quote-unquote tyrant in Extinction.
Right.
I forgot his character's name off the top of my head, but like visually, I can see what they might be trying to go for with him, and it's like taking a page from like, all right, they could, with the movies they did Affleck because they wanted to have an older Bruce Wayne, a Dark Knight Returns Bruce Wayne. Ian Glenn comes off to me as just thinking Ian Glenn, and Batman comes off to me as a hybrid of Dark Knight Returns and Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne.
Sounds good to me.
I'm all on board with it. I'm wondering, two things. One, are we going to even see him in a suit at all? And two, I hope that this opens up the door for other Justice League characters to pop in. Because now that
Superboy's going, isn't it? So,
exactly. And because of Superboy being in it, I would like to see Superman at some point. A Superman.
Yeah. Dan, did you say what you thought of it?
Yes, I thought it was good, didn't
I? Oh, yeah.
I've seen him in Game of Thrones, and he's terrific in it.
See, I don't know him, but I'm excited because Bruce Wayne's going to be in it, so... that absolutely does me.
On the subject of Batman, I saw a poster for Gotham, and it showed you like the back of Batman's head. In the suit.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
I've seen the suit. It looks pretty good, actually.
Cool.
If what I've seen is the Gotham suit, it's all right. It's good. It's not the train wreck like some people wanted it to be.
No, I thought it was quite decent.
I'm guessing it's going to be a bit like Smallville. I didn't watch Smallville, but I know it ended up. Was he actually in the suit at the end?
No.
Sort of.
In a way, but it almost looks like the suit was a digital composite.
It was digital. Yeah.
It doesn't look.
It basically wore a long sleeve blue top, and they just superimposed the S and the cape on.
All right.
And that was because of Tom Welling. I know with Gotham, they have a stuntman playing Batman, and they're going to somehow CGI his face onto him.
Oh, that sounds a bit dodgy.
Or have David Masseuse do like the vocal for it.
I think maybe no. Do you know what? I'm not sure about that. Possibly. Have you heard if he is?
I thought I heard that they were gonna for close-ups on the face, it was going to be masseuse in it, but from action shots and from a distance, it was going to be a stuntman.
I think in action shots they'll probably make it that dark you won't be able to see his face properly. So
yeah.
So maybe it'll be all right if it's just little bits, because they might be able to make it more seamless if they'll be able to spend more time on just small scenes, small moments.
I just think he looks a bit small to be Batman. That's my only issue with it.
Well, that's also the problem with having a Gotham show prequel, pretty much trying to do Smallville, but for Batman. But instead of having him be like a teenager or in his, early 20s when the show started, they were going to have him 10 years old.
Well, there's going to be a time jump in the finale as well.
I know, but it's like, I was trying to say that the show had started off with Bruce being 20, and that's when he comes back to Gotham or something. By this point now, you could be like, well, okay, he's 25, 26 years old. Just put him in a cowl and you don't need to worry about it. I love the show. Don't get me wrong. I really love Gotham because of how crazy and insane and bonkers it is. So I'm sure I'm going to enjoy seeing Batman finally on the show.
Yeah, it's a good show.
It's really good. I think I'm a little bit behind. I think I'm about 2 behind. Dan's not watched the new season, have you?
No, because
No.
it'll probably come on Netflix here first. Because was it E4 or Channel 5 was supposed to show it last time?
E4.
Or did E4 get it? So
Yeah,
they did
E4
show it
already.
first.
They did show it before Netflix. Or I think maybe Netflix got it like a week after E4 finished it or something.
Yeah, I think that's usually what happened. I might wait for it to come on Netflix.
Well, you don't get adverts on Netflix as well, so makes a big difference. Right then, shall we move on to the big trailer of the week?
All right, did something drop this week? Something happen?
Yeah, that trailer was the new Star Wars, and before we get into it, I just want to say I did a poll asking what people thought of it, and we got 101 votes. And thanks for everyone who voted in that and retweeted.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know who the hell said it looked bad.
Well, I'm just
I don't know what they were watching.
So the options I gave were bad, okay, good, and great, which I thought was a good scale to go on because you can only have 4 options as well. Bad got 11%, okay got 18%, good got 21%, and great got 50%. So I think pretty unanimously people loved this trailer.
I think that after the last one, this trailer had to hit you straight in the face, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, if I just take the lead on this before, I don't want to steal the limelight, but basically the trailer for me, I mean, after The Last Jedi, I had lost complete interest. I was like, I don't want to see the next Star Wars. The Last Jedi for me is the worst Star Wars film. And it just killed it for me. It didn't feel, I don't think it felt like a Star Wars film. And I think getting Ryan Johnson to do it was actually a massive mistake. And I think they should have got JJ to do the whole trilogy, personally. Or he should have had a bigger influence on the second one anyway. And this trailer took me from the depths of I don't care about Star Wars to I can't wait to go to the cinema to watch this. So, what do you guys think of the trailer?
I thought it was absolutely. I just thought I'd jump in. I thought it's absolutely awesome. I was just like, oh my god, I cannot wait to see this. Just going back to the second one for a quick second, I think the problem was that J.J. Abrams set some stuff up, and what upset a lot of people is Ryan Johnson went, I don't want to do any of that. I'm just going to sort of not push it to one side, but
yeah.
I mean, let's just take her parents, for example. That was set up so she would be somebody. And he for me threw that away. Now, I actually like the film, but I think there were some things he did that I think JJ would have gone a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And I think they had to pull him back in because straight away you saw it like, this looks like Star Wars again. And I think a lot of people will like it.
Yep. Ryan?
I kind of have similar thoughts. I really did like Last Jedi.
I feel like I'm on my own here.
Yeah, but, there are definitely things in there that I would have liked to have seen done differently. But it also did. It had a lot going for it. Now, last night when I was talking with our good friend Adam about it, we were kind of going back and forth as to, JJ was obviously trying to set up Rey's parents as being somebodies and not the quote unquote nobodies that Kylo Ben said that they were. Now, I have seen the movie under the assumption that that's pretty much what they were going to try and do, is just have Rey's parents be nobodies. But Adam, I think, brilliantly suggested that, to him and in his mind, he always interpreted that moment in The Last Jedi as Kylo trying to deceive Rey. And I kind of feel stupid that I never once considered that. A Sith trying to deceive somebody? No, God, no. So, I'm really looking forward to it. I've always kind of considered myself more times than not a Star Wars casual, but then I see the trailers and then I actually see the movies, and I remember just how bonkers passionate I was into Star Wars during the prequel era, because that's what I grew up with,
Right.
And I just know that it's going to be emotional and epic, and I'm willing to bet everything I own that every scene with Carrie Fisher as Leia is there will not be a dry eye in the theater after all those moments.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I want to get.
You're going to be controversial, aren't you?
No. It's all right. No. I think aesthetically, this looks like The Force Awakens again, like the same sort of aesthetic. Whereas Last Jedi, it took a different turn. It didn't feel like a follow-on from Force Awakens, if that makes sense.
Last Jedi felt darker.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I was speaking to somebody about this, and I did some research. And evidently, Empire Strikes Back got a bit of a backlash when it first came out, and is now voted the best Star Wars of them all.
I don't think that's going to happen with Last Jedi, though.
I don't, but I think people might look at it a bit differently. It depends on what JJ does.
See, if Rian Johnson had gone and made his Star Wars trilogy and then made something that felt like that, fair enough. But he's come into a trilogy at the second one, and for me, it feels like a complete diversion from what Force Awakens is. So having JJ back now, it feels like he's gone. Oh, we've gone off course. I'll just put us back on the same train track we were on the first time.
So what did you, by the way, know who was laughing at the end? Because I got it wrong. I thought it was
Mark Hamill, wasn't it?
No. It took me 2 viewings to figure it out.
I thought it was Snoke, but it's not.
Well, he's dead, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but
it's Palpatine. Palpatine's coming back.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what they're leading to.
Well, that'll be good.
I have no idea how. I'm just excited.
Don't act like when he got all electrocuted in Revenge at Sith, and he was all like, "Oh," his voice.
I just love how that's the best first trailer I think I've ever seen. It was.
I think I'd agree with that.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the bit where she stood in the sand and then that ship's coming towards her, and as soon as she jumps over that ship, the trailer just is non-stop.
I'll tell you the bit that got me. The bit that got me. Kylo's repairing his mask, and I thought, yes, putting the mask back on him.
Because I do like the design of that mask.
It is brilliant. I wish he'd never took it off.
I don't mind him taking it off in Force Awakens, but I think he should have put it back on in the second one, or after he killed Han. You know, like he'd fully gone. I think that would have been good. But he doesn't wear it at all in Last Jedi. I can't remember.
He wears it at the beginning, and then there's that interrogation with Snoke, and that's when he smashes it in the elevator. But it's at the very beginning.
I wonder if I don't think J.J. Abrams would have done that.
Well, I wonder if JJ is like, right, fans didn't like that. I'll change this and change that. We'll get his mask back because he's repairing it, so I like that as well. It's like he's like, right, I'm going to put this back on. And for me, one of the biggest mistakes Rian Johnson made, which I actually think JJ was also a bit guilty of in Force Awakens, was Kylo Ren's too weak for me. It's like every time he fights Rey, gets his butt kicked. Every time, and I'm like, he's supposed to be like the big bad. And I know that they're building up to it, but in the second one, when they're fighting those guys in red suits, she's kicking their ass, and he's struggling. And she has to rescue him.
Yeah.
So
I
need him to bring him back. I mean, would it be controversial if something happened and he won at the end?
Well, what do we think that the rise of Skywalker means?
Well, that's the good question.
Because I have not a clue. Honestly, don't have a clue.
Maybe Luke's going to come back to life after he died in that terrible way.
Or does it turn out she's a Skywalker?
Well,
does it turn out Kylo Ren becomes a good guy? Or...
You've actually I was going to talk about the title separately. I was asked now, what do you think of the title?
I love it. It's straight away. You're like, what does that mean?
Yeah. I was hoping it was from his nap, like the fans were suggesting.
To be honest, we're talking a bit negatively about The Last Jedi, but that title was pretty good as well, I thought.
It was a good title, yeah.
It was.
Well, you got what I remember, didn't you, from his nap? It was that joke on it, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi from his nap. That was the joke on it, that all the titles would make that sentence, basically. But I like the rise of the Skywalker. Sorry, the rise of Skywalker. I think it's quite cool, but makes me wonder, like you say, who's it referring to?
Yeah.
I did not come up with the fan theory, but I'm 110% on board with it. That whatever happens in Episode 9, from this point on in the Star Wars universe, Force users, there will be no more Jedi, there'll be no more Sith. Some kind of balance is going to happen with the Force on a more permanent basis, and Force users will be referred to as Skywalkers.
That could be interesting.
Well, I'm all on board with it.
Well, we saw the kids, didn't we?
This is definitely
Last Jedi.
This
using
is
the Force.
This is definitely the end of the Skywalker saga. They've said that, haven't they?
Yeah,
and they've also come out and said that basically you're not going to get another one anytime soon after this.
Yeah, I think they'll wait 3 years.
They'll go on some kind of hiatus. Well, because they are developing whatever Rian Johnson's trilogy is going to be, and a couple other little stuff. But
I don't think that'll happen. The backlash over the Last Jedi, I cannot see him getting a Star Wars trilogy.
It still sounds like, you know, Disney's kind of, at least as of now, still committed to something.
I'm looking forward to Disney Life's just been announced. Not Disney Life. Is it Disney Life? Disney Plus?
Disney
Plus. Yeah, Disney Plus. Yeah,
just been announced on it, and there's a Star Wars TV series coming to that. So
yes, that's going to carry the flag in.
Two of them.
Yeah,
is one called The Mandalorian now? Am I getting confused?
The Mandalorian, and then there's going to be one that serves as a prequel to Rogue One.
All right.
And The Mandalorian is the Favreau one, isn't it? Jon Favreau.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it'll be
that could be quite
He's a fantastic director.
Isn't it got something to do with Boba Fett? Or am I getting that wrong?
I think that's a separate thing.
All right.
Yeah, it's not a.
I don't even know if they've just kind of abandoned that thing.
Well, I think.
Go on, I think that Disney was hoping that the Star Wars anthology, you know, which I still think is a better title, like branding title than a Star Wars story. Star Wars anthology just sounds cooler, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. Yeah.
You know, I'm sure they wanted Rogue One and Solo to be well received and also do better at the box office. I liked both those movies, but they weren't like main series.
I think they were pleased with Rogue One, though, aren't they? It was Solo they weren't pleased with, but they didn't really give Solo the best opportunity to succeed, in my opinion. They kind of dumped it in May, and not even on May the 4th, which would it makes total sense, doesn't it? But never mind. They didn't stick to the Christmas slot. You know, people were annoyed after Last Jedi, so they didn't.
Well, it came out after 6 months after Last Jedi, didn't it?
And a year later, maybe people would have been more. I think another problem you got with Solo is people are so attached to Harrison Ford that it was kind of an uphill battle anyway, in a sense.
I liked Solo.
I liked it as well.
I did too. I really did.
It was setting up some cool stuff as well, but you almost wonder should they have just done it in that film, because you can't always rely on getting a sequel.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to make the best film you can make. But
True.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
If they don't give it a sequel, I would like to see bring back that cast for those characters and maybe a Disney Plus show.
Or even just do a Disney Plus one-off movie or something, you know,
maybe, yeah.
Or a trilogy of movies on Disney Plus.
It depends, because we're talking about Disney Plus, but don't forget, like, Netflix has been going a while and they're making a ton of money now. So Disney Plus is going to have to make some kind of money before they'll throw money into movies, I think. Because
they're already spending a lot of money.
Well, I think they said, didn't they? You're not going to see like a big budget movie on there. It's going to be like a lower budget movie. Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think it'll take a while to get there.
To it.
They're obviously going to be dedicating budgets to Disney Plus projects because they've got 3 Marvel shows coming, and those aren't going to be like Avengers in scale, but they'll still have.
As long as they're better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
God, that's awful.
I mean, I don't mean that in the times that I'm not saying the show was awful, but it just didn't look great. It looked
but do you know my problem with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? It's like we can't use any of the big characters, so we'll put some guys in suits. It's just like, come on.
I think if they had a bigger budget, like they probably will get on Disney Plus, then it'd work a lot better.
Maybe. Right, so we'll move on to the last bit of news, which I said this for last because it links into Shazam. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson delivered a very a message of gratitude towards the people for going to see Shazam, and it turns out he was more involved in the film Shazam than we thought. He isn't just playing Black Adam; he's also a producer on Shazam, and he was the one who said we need to do a Black Adam film separately, because I think he felt like the story was so good that you could do that. You could let Shazam be on his own and then build towards it. So I think they'll probably do a Shazam trilogy that builds towards Shazam versus Black Adam in the 3rd film.
Might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, and the Black Adam film, it sounds like it's going to start filming in a year, and from stuff we've heard, it sounds like it's going to have Hawkman in it and things like that. So, and it'll obviously be set back in the past, and that just sounds awesome to me. So what are your guys' thoughts on like Black Adam movie and all that sort of stuff?
I've now here's me being the contrarian. I've never really understood why Black Adam had to be separate. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna go see this movie. Duh. Put DC on the on the poster, and I'll go see it. But and I hope that they take some elements because clearly, kind of spilling the beans a little bit for talking about Shazam, but it's pretty clear that without name dropping him, they talk about Black Adam. He's referenced in the movie and being involved with the 7 Deadly Sins, and I would like to see maybe that explored a little bit in his own solo movie.
Yeah.
If it is going to take place back in the past.
Do you know the comic origin of Black Adam?
Have I read any of them? No, but I like.
Yeah,
I know that he and Hawkman are like kind of tied together a little bit.
I would recommend tracking it down. Just even the classic version of it, because basically he gets this power, and I'm pretty sure like he saves his people, but then he goes a bit power mad. It's almost a bit like Caesar when he got the power, he won't give it up, and he gets a bit power mad, and they realise they've chosen the wrong champion. So even though he starts off as a hero, he's almost a bit like Anakin Skywalker. He kind of descends into the darkness. So for me,
but I would like if they have it set up like, okay, that they do this, he gets power to try and make.
That's what I think you'll get
to make his home better, but have it be that he was, as referenced in Shazam, that he was the champion, and that, to just.
Well, in Shazam, they kind of tease that, and I think they kind of, because you do see him, don't you, sort of in that hologrammy thing.
Mm-hmm. As soon as we see that hologram of the previous quote unquote champion, I was like, oh, Black Adam, okay.
So they kind of have teased that story. So for me, when we get that story, that'll feel like a payoff for that moment. That's the way I sort of see it.
But then there's also a part of me that would have really thought would have been cool if a Black Adam movie would have been Black Adam versus Superman, but I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Yeah, no. It would be cool, but I feel like he has to fight Shazam before he fights Superman.
Yeah.
Or even fight them both at the same time, like in the cartoon.
Yeah, like that animated movie.
Yeah, that'd be my ideal, but obviously. So Dan, what do you think of Black Adam and Hawkman being in the film? And it sounds like they've got a script anyway, so. Danny, you there?
Sorry, I'm getting messages off my mum because Ethan's trying to log into his Minecraft account, so I kind of missed what you were talking about.
I know you're about
Black Adam, just saying The Rock's teased it. He's going to probably film in like a year. It's got Hawkman in it. That was pretty much the gist of it. And the rise and fall of Black Adam is going to be the story of it. The sound of it.
All right. So did you say that? I heard you saying that you think a trilogy of Shazam movies with one Black Adam movie? You mean?
That's what I think. Yeah, and Black Adam will set up Black Adam for Shazam 3, where he fights.
So is the initial sort of storyline of Black Adam the same as Shazam though? Because don't he get his power from the same guy?
Yeah, the wizard Shazam gives him the power. Yeah. Because he says, don't he, in the story how they've been looking for a champion since the the picked wrong last time, basically.
I'm just thinking, I wonder how they're going to make it seem a little bit different to the.
Well, it's going to be set in the past for a start, in the olden days, like Egyptian times. So basically, you're going to have Black Adam, rise of a hero, and then there's going to be the inevitable fall, which I was comparing to Anakin Skywalker.
Right, yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's interesting. Obviously, I think one of the things that with Shazam is maybe the bad guy could probably improve. So I think once they get Black Adam in there, that's something where it'll just make it seem that grander scale.
Well, I think that's the point. Idea. I think you build up his villains, and then by the time you get to Black Adam, he's the big bad, and almost like sometimes you free big bad in first movie was so good, then you can never top him. So if you build up to him, maybe it's a better way of doing it than just like, for example, Batman slapping the Joker in the first film.
Yeah.
You know, that
kind of thing. So kind of Christopher Nolan it, but save Joker for a third.
Yeah, instead of a second. Yeah. That's where I look at it.
I'm kind of on board with that only because I really want to see what they do with Mr. Mind.
Yeah, and we'll don't go on that yet. We're going to talk about that later. So don't go on that yet. We'll tease that. Well, we're going to talk about Black Adam later, but we've talked about it now anyway. So I should have probably brought this up after we talked about Shazam, but right. We might as well just get into Shazam or Captain Sparkle Fingers or whatever you want to call him this week. Thundercracker, that was one of the ones.
Power Boy.
Power Boy, yeah, that was another one. Yeah, that was so funny when it was like his name is Thundercrack.
That sounds like one of my favorite lines of the movie. That sounds like a butt thing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So me and Dan gave our initial thoughts last week. So non-spoiler thoughts, Ryan. Do you want to tell us what you thought, Shazam?
Some of the most fun I've had, in quite a while. It's exactly what I was hoping this movie would have been. Fun, lighthearted, but not to the point where, and this is probably going to be one of the few times I say something negative about the MCU, but the jokes felt natural. They didn't feel like they were just throwing in jokes just for the sake of it.
I think the source material suits that though, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It lends itself to it, yeah.
I love all the characters. They gave more depth to Sivana than I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
There are, as we'll talk about it, there are some surprises that, I didn't think that they were going to do for the first movie, that I thought that they would save it, but I'm glad that they did. They say that he's part of a family for a reason, and it was nice to see that family actually. You guys get what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah.
What I'm hinting at. So I just absolutely loved it.
Right then, we might as well get into the spoilers. So, do you want to talk? Is there anything you disliked first of all?
Who, me or?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking to Ryan.
Hang on, am I back? I muted it, but I'm talking to both of you.
Okay.
Anything you disliked?
You can go first, Ryan, if you want.
I don't know if I would call it a negative, but I know that this movie is clearly based off of the Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, Shazam storyline from the New 52 era of comics, and Billy in those comics is kind of a bully, kind of a douche, and I know that some people try to say that was like horrible and bad characterization, but I felt like it's part of the character arc of him, that is this character, Billy Batson, who's spent a good chunk of his life pretty much fending for himself and taking care of himself, and now that he has been given the powers by the wizard and now he's Shazam, that he's got to grow up and be more, nicer, respectful, protective, I don't know what I'm trying to get at this.
You sound like you're clutching at straws. That's what it is.
See, I don't.
Because there's nothing that I outright disliked with the movie.
Yeah.
Other than.
I don't think he was like a bully though. I think he was more of just a bad behaved kid in a sense. Like he did, like the things he did where a lot of cops in there. it was more kind of like.
I thought that was quite clever though. She never did out really bad. There was always a purpose to what he was doing.
Honestly, in the comic, he's so dislikable, bro. You want to punch him in the comic. And I think they did a good job.
And this felt like what Jeff Johns should have done in the comics.
Totally agree,
Still have him, not be a goody two shoes right from the get go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess for this character that would kind of be a boring arc.
Yeah, I think it works that he's like he'll do break the law and stuff, but because he's got to, because he's fending for himself. So, is there anything you dislike, Dan? Then?
Not really. The only thing I would say, not really negative, because it's the first film, and I think it's always good to have a good bad guy, but somebody that's not, it's not Black Adam, and he's not that one. Because I felt they did that a bit, with Green Lantern. I felt like they should have gone for the Sinestro straight away.
Yeah.
And I think that was detrimental to it. In this case, it's not at all. It's a good film. Yeah. But I think some people feel that it could have been a bit better. But I just think it's a good start movie.
Yeah,
I think you can take him.
If you'd have done Black Adam first and then followed up with Sivana and Mr. Mind, I don't think it was. I think they would have felt a bit weaker.
Okay. And now that hearing you guys talk, knowing the New 52 storyline that they're clearly taking this from, it really did feel like that they were trying to give Sivana in the movie almost like meld Sivana and Black Adam from that storyline into one instead of.
A little bit, but
having them,
yeah. Sivana has had powers and stuff in the comics before. It's not.
Yeah, but I always had thought that he had gotten those through more quote unquote scientific and artificial means.
There are storylines where he gets the power of Shazam. So it has got precedence in the comics and stuff like.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're saying though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that whole thing with the eye and stuff that was in the comic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I think for me, a dislike. Well, it's not really a dislike, but the stuff with his mother. I get why they did. It was quite sad and stuff. And all, as a parent, I mean, obviously it gets sorted out later in the film. When she didn't come back for him, I was just like, what kind of parent would do that? When you think off the top of your head and stuff. But obviously, the way we see it at the start is the way he remembers it, and that's not the way it actually happened.
And
I don't like feeling sad in films, and it made me feel sad. Does that make sense?
It did or didn't?
No, it did make me feel sad, and I don't like to feel sad. And so, although it's not like a fault of the film, but for me that becomes a little bit of a dislike because I don't like to feel sad. It's just the way I am.
At least to me, they kind of justified it a little bit. Like, instead of just making the mother an outright, F my child, I don't care. She did panic when she lost Billy at the fair, and when she, found him with the police, she felt that he would just be better off. Which I think is, if that's the route they were going to go, I'm glad they did that instead of being like, F my child, I don't care about Billy.
I suppose in a sense as well, the irony is, in the end, he is better off. In the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he isn't all the way through it, but...
I do feel like his interaction with his mom and giving her the little compass.
Yeah.
At least in my headcanon, kind of, hopefully they expand upon this in the sequel, that she decides to get out of that abusive relationship she's clearly in, and maybe in the sequel she'll try to be a part of Billy's life.
I think she'll come back. I think it's setting it up, and hopefully they can have some sort of relationship, down the line.
Something that they can at least see each other once in a while or something.
Just go for coffee or something. That'd be nice. In fact, you could have a scene in the second one, like they could go for coffee finally at the end, like in a post credit, and then that in Return of Black Adam, where Black Adam turns up when Clark Kent's in thing with Billy. You could do that, but with Billy and his mother, and Black Adam could turn up. That'd be a nice little tease for third.
Cool. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm pitching ideas now. You're welcome, David Sandberg. And another dislike, and it's not a major dislike, right? I thought the Santa Claus stuff was hilarious, but I just thought the last bit was a bit of a step too far. I thought they just pushed it that tiny bit too far.
It won't for me.
Santa Claus at the mall, that was perfect. Yeah, just.
I don't think you needed to keep doing it the way they did it. I think they went back to it too many times for me. Just one too many times.
Now, was that supposed to be the same Santa from the mall?
Yeah, that was the point. Okay. Every time I went, shit gets happening, didn't it? So I think it was like. But it was just the interview thing at the end. I thought.
With him swearing.
I disagree with you. I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny, but
to be fair, bro, that got the biggest laugh in the audience that we were with.
I don't know, did it? I can't remember.
Yeah, it definitely did.
I'm trying to remember what got me the.
I don't know. I think I don't know. That thunder.
I was a bit shocked by it because of obviously you don't know as an adult, you know what he's saying. As a kid, you hope they don't. But I was a bit shocked. But no, I thought it was really funny. I was just surprised they put it in.
So Ryan, because me and Dan already answered this last week. What did you think to all the actors and the characters? And was there anyone that really stood out to you? And was there anyone you disliked as well? That'd be interesting to know, like acting wise. Was there someone who you thought, maybe they shouldn't have cast that person out?
I don't know if it would be I would throw it under a dislike, but maybe just more the characterization of characters. Because I keep trying to think like younger Pedro before the end of the movie. Is he written to be kind of the recluse of the family and just not talkative? Was that just performance-wise? I'm not one to like to judge people based off of acting unless it's really atrocious, because I know I sure as hell can't act worth to save my life.
Neither can we. And we've been influenced.
Speak for yourself, bro.
I think it's clear that the three standouts are Zachary, Asher, and I'm forgetting Freddie Freeman's actor. I should know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, though. Yeah, I know. I can't remember his name either. I'll have a look. I'll IMDb.
It almost feels like unfair to be like, so in Shazam, who's your favorite, actor and character? And it's like, well, it would clearly be Freddie and Shazam.
You're on about Jack Dylan Grazer.
Yeah,
yes.
He was great in it as well, so I want to try to so
and what's a little funny is only 2 years have passed between it and Shazam. Yeah. He had a growth spurt.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He shot up.
And the actors, the casters, the Shazam versions of the characters. Adam Brody was perfectly cast as his.
I have a comment. Do we want to talk about that? Because I have.
Yeah, we're spoiling it. We're spoiling this one.
Well, okay.
Spoilers, we're spoiling it.
All right. I was not expecting the Shazam family to actually happen in this movie. I thought they would save that for a sequel.
I 100% was.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying again, one of those.
You thought they'd have saved it. Yeah,
I would have saved it for a second one.
You do know that Zachary, is it Levi or Levi?
I think you pronounce it Levi.
He auditioned for that part, That's how he got the part.
Oh yeah, no. And then he was like, and the director was like, "Oh no, he's suited to Shazam. Let's cast him as Shazam."
He auditioned to be Shazam Freddy or something.
Yeah, basically, Freddy, superhero Freddy as his title.
Superhero,
But Adam Brody felt like an older Freddy. It was like the perfect casting. I was
What do I know Adam Brody out of?
Oh, he's in loads of stuff. He's been in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The OC. He was actually going to play the Flash in Justice League Marvel.
That's what I kind of.
And he would have been a great Flash.
That's why I wanted to bring up it. That's just my little comment about the Shazam family and them as adult superheroes is that we have an almost Flash and an almost Superman.
Because
playing the who played superhero Pedro was cast as Superman, and it was just knowing that and then seeing them finally in a DC movie wearing costumes, it was like they finally kind of got their wish. Kinda.
Yeah. But the Shazam family, I don't know how they work. I don't think they can always turn into. I think he has to he has to like give them the power, doesn't he? So I don't think they're going to be flying around with him in sequel all the way through it and stuff. But I've just thought of a really cool scene you could have in third, and where Black Adam has just like decimated the Shazam family. How cool would that be?
I've just thought of something like that I didn't like in the film, but I don't know a lot about Shazam's stories and backgrounds. Just know that character. The demons, I didn't want that keen on.
The Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah,
they're a huge part. They're a huge part of the comics canon. Yeah, massive part of it. Yeah.
I mean, I really liked them. They weren't horrendous at all. I just was. I think maybe because I was a bit caught off guard with them, I was a bit like, "What's this?" But like I say, no major.
It was a little hard to kind of tell some of them apart.
Yeah,
and because I know that for the New 52 storyline, there were some that were definitely monstrous looking, but there were others that looked more human. Like Lust looked like a beautiful, attractive woman. At least in those comics. So I don't know.
Didn't you think one of them looked like Doomsday? By the way, I thought one of them looked like Doomsday. Did you not think so? Or did you not catch? One of them did for me. I tell you what's actually funny about it. David Sandberg did that horror film Lights Out. Well, the character there's one of the characters in this film, and she plays the same character she played in Lights Out. So basically, it's like canonized Lights Out to the DC universe, which is quite cool. I can't remember which character it is now.
I've never seen the Lights Out movie, but the short that it's based on scared the crap out of me when I
haven't seen that. Do you know what? Lights Out the film was a good concept, but I thought the execution was a bit off for me personally. Enough.
Without even having seen the film, I can kind of get that.
Yeah.
That because taking what I think worked best for just like a 4 to 5 minute short and trying to expand that to an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, it happened with that film Clown as well, where he sorry to diverge off the topic, but Eli Roth did that they did this short film called Clown, and it was really good, and then they made it into a feature film, and it was just awful.
Like I heard, that Mama movie wasn't.
Yeah, well, it sometimes happens, doesn't it? So. Yeah. So
I didn't pick up on a Lights Out reference, but at the beginning, at the shop where Billy,
I know you're gonna say here,
traps the police officers. Now I've never seen the Annabelle movies, but even I was like, "Hey, that's the Annabelle doll."
I didn't even notice that. I saw it later on Twitter. The Annabelle doll, but the Annabelle doll was in Aquaman as well, so it's like
where I never saw that, and I saw Aquaman.
You know what? Times. You won't see it till you get home video. It's the bit where they go to get in the mirror ship, and there's all loads of rubbish around, and she's in the rubbish basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is the Conjuring universe now part of the DCEU?
It sounds like it might be vaguely connected. Wonder they might make some little comments about the flying man in Metropolis or something in one of them. It's be quite funny. But yeah. So what do you want to do about the film? Do you want to catch? We'll just try and go through it best we can, and then because I think we're just going to spoil the hell out of this movie now because we did non-spoilers last week. So if you haven't seen it, go see it, and then.
Yes,
although it's
definitely worth it.
I've not listened to about half an hour of this episode. So one of the things I liked Sivana's backstory and when it actually started, and I'm just going to name drop John Glover from Smallville as he's basically the father of two bald super villains now.
He pretty much was playing Lionel.
Playing Lionel Luthor again one year. But when it started at first, I thought, what's going on here? And I thought, is this meant to be young Billy at first? But then as soon as I saw him argue with his dad, his brother, I thought, well, this isn't Billy. And that's when I clicked it was Savannah, young Savannah. Wow. So what did you guys think of Savannah's story and that whole opening scene and all that?
I mean, there's only so much you can do in a 2-hour time limit. I wish they could have, because it seemed like, pretty. What I'm trying to get at is I just felt like his downfall and being, not like physically abused, but like emotionally and mentally.
Yeah, he like berated him and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, abused by brother and father, to him just being like an outright, as an adult. I guess I kind of would have just liked to have seen just a little bit more, like why adult Thaddeus Savannah like didn't even care that his one assistant just burns up and turns to ash. But as an actual like villain, like once he finally got the powers and whatnot,
yeah,
I think he was just fantastic, and I think you could clearly tell that Mark Strong was just having a hell of a good time.
Oh, he was having a great time, and I was a bit shocked he did an American accent as well. So I've only ever do his normal accent, so
yeah, it's only kind of for me further solidifies. Like God damn it, he should have been allowed to be Sinestro more, like actual villainous Sinestro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least maybe he still could because technically he did makeup, so.
Yeah, I totally agree with Ryan on it, and I really like Mark Strong. I've always liked him. Plays a really good bad guy as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can really add up there. I just agree with you.
Yeah.
Really
to the point, he's just so good. Like to the point where if I see him in other stuff, like have you guys seen the Kingsman movies?
Yeah. Well, I've seen
I've seen the first one.
Okay. Well, then I don't want to spoil the second one. But
don't
watching the first one, I kept waiting for him to turn bad. And it's like, wait, Mark Strong's actually the good guy in this. Well, that itself is a twist.
I was the same, exactly the same.
Yeah. Grimsby was good as well. Have you seen Grimsby?
Oh, he was in that, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was great in that. Brilliant in that. And Stardust as well. He's fantastic in Stardust, which is my favourite movies.
I've never seen Stardust.
I think you'd love it.
You need to watch it. Henry Cavill's in it.
Shut up!
And
really?
And Daredevil, Charlie Cox, he's in it as well.
Because I knew about De Niro.
He's the lead guy.
Oh God, Cox. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Oh my God! Okay, now I do gotta see this movie.
You need to see it. It's one of the best films I've ever watched. Yeah, it's
absolutely fantastic. All right,
it's like a wonderful. It's just a wonderful adventure. That's all I can say about it.
No spoilers. No spoilers. Okay.
Yeah. No,
it's one of them movies I put it alongside things like Labyrinth and Legend, and if you're into that
kind of Baron Munchausen and all that sort of.
Yeah, it's got a bit of Baron Munchausen.
Yeah. Bit of a vibe to it, on it. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about was I thought to say that because I think the budget for the film was like something like between 80 to 100 million. I thought that the effects looked pretty good for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
There was obviously the odd ropey bit, but I feel like some of the full CGI Zachary Levi and Mark Strong I thought that looked, even though I knew it was CGI, I thought it looked really good.
The only effects that I personally felt were dodgy, I'm not even gonna count like there was like a level of cheesiness with the 7 Deadly Sins that I kind of just bought into, like they were B-level creations in an A-level, and I was fine with it.
The spotlight, the bad guy, didn't they? The claw in Gadget, they were like, Gadget. No, that's that.
The only effects that I kind of felt a little on was the super speed, but I
liked that.
I kind of just tried to chalk it up in my head as it's not like the Flash's, super speed or Superman super speed. It's just a different version of super.
It's the speed of Solomon, isn't it? It's not the the speed of Mercury. Sorry, Mercury, not Solomon.
You have that in your head though, don't you? What it should look like, and then when somebody does it a bit different, you're like, that don't look right.
Well, take for instance. In fact, that actually is quite a good point because in Man of Steel, when he's fast, it's not the same as when the Flash is fast in Justice League, which I think is like amazing when all the lightning's, looks amazing and stuff. So I think it's kind of cool that they've got their own versions of it.
And that's how I was like, okay, the effect at first was like to me, but then I was like, okay, it's just super speed, different than Flash Superman. It's Shazam's own and I'm fine with it at the end of the day.
So, Dan, what do you think effects-wise and budget, and did you think it were detrimental to the film in any way, or did you think it was fine? Or
no, I thought in terms of visual effects, it was pretty solid. Sometimes I thought the Seven Deadly Sins, is that right?
Yeah.
I thought sometimes they looked a little bit funny, but for the most part, I thought they looked pretty good.
Yeah.
There was definitely one bit where I think they did a full CGI Shazam, and I'm always a bit. It didn't spoil it for me. It's not, and it's a nitpick that it didn't quite look right. And you know the bit where he got pulled by his cape, I could still not figure that out. Whether some of it was CGI or some of it was real, I couldn't figure out what they did. There was definitely some CGI used in there. There's a bit in there where he gets pulled by his cape.
Yeah, I know I've seen it. Yeah.
I think they might have used his real face or the top half of his body.
The bit where they were fighting above the clouds and they were full of CGI, that looked really good.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult, especially when it comes to human beings. It's really difficult. CGI in general is difficult. So it's not a big deal. It definitely won't detriment to the movie. I loved it. In fact, I can't wait to watch it again. To be honest, it's one of those films you go in and you really enjoy it, don't you? And you come out and you feel really happy about yourself because you just watch something fun.
You were on about the Seven Deadly Sins. That boardroom scene was very horror for me. I mean, I don't know if it was actually a bit too much considering they wanted the little kids to watch.
I've heard I can't verify anything, but I've heard stories of kids having to be taken out of theaters during like the boardroom scene and any scene with the seven.
I read one on Twitter earlier actually. But Dan, you said your son, didn't you? He was all right in the cinema, wasn't he? But was it later on?
Yeah, but at night, he was getting a bit upset. He was a bit frightened. I actually was a bit surprised at that. I thought it was quite because sometimes I always think they go, they didn't show you it, but it's like you don't need to see it. You know what happens.
What's in your imagination is a lot. You can create something a lot scarier than what they're showing. That's why like Halloween works so well because you don't quite see everything and it makes it a bit more like I remember that producer of that film said that kind of thing would work tomorrow. You know, doing that kind of effect. And like when he went to bite the guy's head off and he actually wrapped his. You don't have to see him bite. You can imagine it in your head.
Yeah, I'm just kind of glad that for that moment, for that effect, that how it cuts to like the lower half of his body, kind of just shaking and shivering. That they didn't just do like buckets of blood falling. I'm glad that they didn't do that. That would have been too much.
Well, there wouldn't have been. I don't think they'd have got away with that. Well, again, the director's a horror director, so maybe he had a little bit of that, you know, when he was doing it. And again, I'm not saying it shouldn't be there, but I kind of feel like now if I were going to show my son it, I think I'd probably wait. Whereas if I could cut that scene out and just show him about that scene, I probably would.
Yeah, and I feel like Shazam should kind of be the most of the DCEU so far. Should be the most family friendly and like kid accessible.
But I feel like that moment takes that away a little bit. Where when I was watching it before that, I was like, "This is like the perfect film to show your kid." DC for like the first one you could show, probably Justice League as well. But then when that moment happened, I thought, "Oh, I don't know now." And that's not a complaint. I'm not saying it shouldn't be there. I just personally, I'm not. I can't say I thought the decision was necessarily right or wrong. I'm just
that's how I've gotten in trouble on Twitter for opinions. Is hey, I can like something, but I try to think of it as how our like mass market appeal and trying to get as many people into the theater as possible. Well, you do stuff like this and kind of does take away from people being able to take younger kids to see it out of fear that they could get frightened.
Yeah.
Or just being too like, I'm sure you guys are aware that I, got tried on by DCU Twitter like a month or two ago because I dared question why Birds of Prey has to be R-rated. When, in my mind I was thinking, the first all-female team up, should be maybe a little bit more, like accessible to younger girls.
Maybe there's a way they can do it so they release like a version in the cinemas that isn't R-rated and then do an R-rated Blu-ray or something.
I kind of hope so.
Because like for me, and I do like Batman vs Superman, but if you've got a Batman Superman team up film, it shouldn't be rated R.
That I love the ultimate cut, but
Yeah.
I'm with you. I have a problem with a movie starring Superman that's R-rated.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Yeah.
I mean, I have a problem with a Batman movie being R-rated, but I can accept that more.
That's a little bit more. They've got a little.
Yeah, I can. I'm okay with. I wouldn't do it, but I'm okay with it.
Superman, for me, I think of characters that should be R-rated, and I think the Punisher, that kind of character. Maybe even Venom could have been R-rated, and that would have been fair enough. But
what was Nolan's trilogy rated?
Oh, they were all like 12.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So what was some like? Let's talk about some of the humor in the film because there was some brilliant humor. Right. So what was some like the funniest moments for you guys?
I liked the bit where he first meets the wizard.
And he laughs at his name.
Yeah, and then he makes him joke, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Pretty much anything involving the guy whose name I mentioned earlier, and I forgot already the kid out of it. Freddie. Yeah.
Jack
Dylan
Grace. Yeah.
I loved the bit. I loved how because I thought, the scene with the robbers in the shop. I thought
that's my favorite.
Yeah, well, I thought, they showed a bit too much in trailers, but there was so much more to it. And then that guy was like, "Oh, shoot him in the face," and it's like, "What?"
Shoot him in the face. Wait, what? I love that.
And that Thundercrack bit, I couldn't stop laughing when he said that. His name is the Thundercrack.
and I love that they walk out with beer and they're like,
tastes like crap.
Tastes like actual. And then they walk out with all the energy drinks. Oh, it's just, it's.
There was some great moments on there.
Mm-hmm.
I especially like
the banter back and forth between Zachary Levi and Jack Dylan. It's perfect. It's
what about when he sets that box on fire that he's in, and then runs off and then fills it, and he's right pissed off, and when he comes out and it's on fire. That was good. That was really good. Dan, can you think about
what funny?
Yeah, like
I already said, didn't I? I said about like.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Well, obviously I mentioned Santa Claus earlier. That was quite funny, even though I thought maybe they could have dropped the last bit, but
I liked the last bit. That made me laugh.
Good. Yeah,
it was good.
And then there was the Eye of the Tiger Thunder thing. I quite enjoyed that because I loved that song. So.
Yeah, what was the other piece? Didn't they use another piece of 80s music? Oh, they used Queen song, didn't they?
Yeah, Don't Stop Me Now. They had that as well. I think there were some others as well, but they're escaping me at the moment. But
weirdly enough, someone brought this up to me, and I never considered it until he said something on Twitter. I'm forgetting who off the top of my head, but it was just like the way that they said that there was like an 80s nostalgia feel to Shazam, even though it's set present day, to the point where I felt like this movie could have worked as a period piece in the 80s.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think that's what they were going for, though, wasn't it? They wanted to do they wanted to base it on Big as well, which is an 80s film.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought Big was 90s. Is Big not 90s?
Is it?
I think it's early 90s. I can't remember anyway.
I might be wrong.
But like there was the whole connection to Rocky because it was in Philly and stuff, and that was cool. And straight away it made me think of Rocky,
Yeah, and they sat on the steps out there at one point as well. So.
Yeah, and Philly at night just reminds me of the 80s. So when you see this Rocky statue and stuff, so that was quite cool.
just something about the shopping mall too. Felt very,
speaking of shop, right? When he first fights Savannah in there. And there's that bloody bit where he throws Batman at it. He's like, "Get it, Batman!" And throws Batman.
I'm Batman. Get him back. And also, I just kind of love seeing all the DC, Justice League toys and merchandise all over the place, because to me that I know that they filmed it in a real world location, so they're gonna have the Mattel multiverse, all those toys and whatnot.
Yeah, but there was all sorts in there. There was Imaginext and all sorts.
Yeah, but to me it was. Okay, if these characters existed in a real world, we would make toys and action figures based off of them.
Yeah, and T-shirts and merchandise and posters. Definitely.
There would be. So
because the heroes to the world, so they'd sell.
1988, take that.
Oh, was it 88? Right, I take it back then. I didn't think it was. I thought it was 90s.
No, 88.
I'll have to hand in my 80s card. I can only have it back when I redeem myself. So the fights with Savannah and stuff were cool, weren't they? And that bit where Savannah's bad mouthing him, and he's like, "I literally can't hear you," because they're like miles away. Because in films they just do it, don't they? And they don't really think about it. And because even in Man of Steel, he's having chats with Zod, and Zod's quite far away.
Yeah, there was. I was gonna say, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
but at least with Superman and General Zod, even though they were like city blocks away from each other,
they've got super hearing,
super hearing, so it works.
Yeah. But like with us two, and he's going, "I will destroy you," and all that sort of stuff, and he's like, "What?
I will feast on your heart." Are you giving like a bad guy speech? Or
yeah, that was cool. And did you notice like the parallels to Man of Steel in the fights in the sky and stuff as well?
Mm-hmm.
They were intentional, weren't they?
Very obvious.
Definitely. So, Dan, anything else you want to add? Or move on to some of the stuff?
Do we want to talk about the cameo?
We will do. I'm going to get to that. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got something I want to talk about before we get to that. So.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mind, straight away I noticed him right in the beginning of the film in the glass case. And I noticed later when it was broken, and I was waiting for that moment when Mr. Mind turned up, and in one of the credit scenes, he was in it in the jail, and he sounded just like I expected him to sound, which is what it sounded like in like Brave and the Bold and stuff. And Mr. Mind is one of my favorite like Shazam villains because he's like a worm that can talk. I think that's quite interesting. So, what did you think to all that stuff?
I think he was voiced by David Sandberg himself. If I heard correctly, I think I heard. If I heard correctly,
that's quite cool. If that's the case, he sounded like him. So
I wonder what the hell was going on. I thought I jumped into Labyrinth for a second.
See, I was almost thinking maybe they should have teased him, but not shown him, and then in the sequel you could have had him teased all the way through, and then at the end they find out he's this worm. And you'd be like, what the hell? Or caterpillar, whatever the hell he's supposed to be.
Well, most people probably didn't see it because our cinema, half of them had left already, maybe even 3/4.
Yeah.
The very last one.
Have people not learned?
Oh, seriously.
Because even DC are doing it all the time as well now. It's not just.
Well, the thing is, I generally look around if people stay seated. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a FaceTime message from my son. Hey, buddy.
What was that?
It was Ethan shouting at the camera.
I was like, what the hell's that?
So, I totally forgot. See you, buddy.
It's quite funny.
He's staying out tonight. He don't usually stay out. He's at my mum's. It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange, actually.
I had a kid-free night last night. Well, apart from baby, but he didn't count.
Yeah, my kid-free night's on this podcast. Yeah. Wrap it up.
Right, so let's get to the cameo at the end then. Superman. They set it up earlier in the film. They had the comment about, is Superman going to bring dessert? And then at the end he does. So what did you both think of that cameo? And do you know about what the details behind why Henry Cavill didn't do it himself?
I don't know exactly, but I know he's in contract dispute or whatever it is. So I guess
the official line is that the director wanted it so badly, but he just couldn't get the scheduling right with school and Cavill's free time.
All right.
So
again, it's one of them. It's nice to have it there, but you just looking at it thinking it'd been better if they'd just shown his full face.
Yeah, but they couldn't, could they? Because it wasn't.
They should have CGI'd him. Couldn't look any worse than Tashgate. So
couldn't look any worse than Justice League.
See, for me, I think. I think it's kind of put them in a good position in a sense because they got the cameo, even if they didn't have Henry Cavill there.
Mm.
But they also, managed to not. They don't have to basically make a decision on Cavill right now, so they didn't have to recast. So for me, I think they've kind of had the cake and eaten it too. So, Ryan, what did you think to the cameo? And
I liked it. Obviously, I'm kind of with you guys. It would have been better if, like, we could just get all this, shit taken care of with Cavill, so that it could have just been him. And
see, I'd rather have that than no cameo though.
It would have nice to tidy up though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think this is better because at least it shows that this is still DCEU. This is still the Henry Cavill Superman, even if it's not going to be.
Did you know still going to be slight? Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I did like the little. It is the Superman suit that we've had with all these movies so far, except for the red belt. I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice to put the red belt on. It made it look a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys think now maybe Superman pops up in the sequel properly, or do you think this will be it?
If they have Superman come into it doesn't matter who plays him. If they have Superman come up in a sequel, then I think that's when they should do like that animated movie, Shazam and Superman versus Black Adam.
Yeah,
so if you're gonna go on.
Sorry,
but could you have him pop up in the sequel for a cameo, and then in the third one you bring him in as like an extended cameo, kind of like what Wonder Woman had in BVS or something?
But if he helps Shazam defeat Black Adam, that totally takes it away from Shazam. It's his.
But I don't think it did in the cartoon.
Well, that's true, but let's be honest, we've seen it with Green Lantern. They could have done the Green Lantern movie as the cartoon. They didn't do it like that, so I've got no hope for doing it same as the cartoon.
Yeah. So hopefully this isn't the last we've seen of Superman for a long time.
I mean, I get it. Yes, it would be nice if Cavill comes back, but I would rather the character continue on than just not show up anymore. But I like that Sandberg used the Man of Steel BVS Justice League suit just with that one modification, with the addition of a red belt.
I thought it was a nice
because to me that helps. Okay, this is still in universe. This is still in continuity.
Yeah,
this is even if it's no longer Cavill, this is still.
Well, it kind of was anyway, because you had the Bullet from BVS, that Freddie had. You had the newspaper headlines from Man of Steel. So they definitely put it in the middle of the DCU. The previous films are all canon. So
and I kind of wish we had gotten more stuff like this in like Aquaman. So I get wanting to have the movie stand alone.
Yeah,
but it felt like it could have existed in its own little bubble universe, and I would.
Well, I did like that we got the Steppenwolf mentioning Aquaman. So
yeah.
So they didn't dismiss what had happened. So I thought that was quite good.
Like to me, this is a good Shazam as a whole. Like for the movie as a whole, is to me a good representation of how you can keep. If you want to have a character be in their own solo movie in a shared universe but stand alone, this is how you do it. Establish, clearly show that this is in an interconnected world.
Yeah.
But sans the cameo, you don't need to have any crossover whatsoever.
No, because as well, even if you hadn't had that Superman cameo at the end, it still would have been, because there was the newspaper headlines and the merchandise and stuff, so you can still have all that sort of stuff. Like, you could literally just have a newspaper headline in the background, couldn't you, saying Superman saves Metropolis or something, and then that shows that it's in the same universe. So, Dan, I was at an 8 out of 10 last week. I'm still at 8 out of 10. Are you still an 8 out of 10 on this?
Yeah, totally.
Ryan, what do you rate it?
I would probably go 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 or 9 out of 10. In between
there. So we've got a little bit higher.
Must be getting a bit better at our ratings, bro. We usually go too high.
So before we rank the DC films and finish off, I asked people on Twitter to rank the DC films, and I've got quite a few responses. I'm just going to read through them quickly, and we'll see if there's kind of a consensus on what like the best film considered is. So at Blue_Eyed Prince, he rates BVS number 1, Man of Steel 2, Aquaman 3, Wonder Woman 4, Shazam 5, Suicide Squad 6, and Justice League 7. At William Kelly, he ranks the DCU Man of Steel, Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, BVS, Justice League, Suicide Squad. Although it is his 5 and 6, which is BVS and Justice League, can switch back and forth depending on his mood. At Tim Mal 510, he goes Wonder Woman, Shazam, Man of Steel, Justice League, Suicide Squad tied with BVS. At Comitropolis goes Batman vs Superman, which is give ratings as well, 5 out of 5. Man of Steel 2, 5 out of 5. Wonder Woman 3, 5 out of 5. So I don't know if he ranks them all as similar, but maybe just slightly further one to over. Aquaman 4.5, Suicide Squad 4 out of 5, Shazam 4 out of 5, and Justice League 2 out of 5. So I guess you want the fan of the theatrical cut. I Am the Joe Diaz has ranked. He's ranked him a bit weird actually. He's got a lot of tied ones. Like he's only got a list of 4, but he's got Shazam and Aquaman number 1, Justice League and Wonder Woman number 2, Man of Steel number 3, and his 4th one is BVS and Suicide Squad together. But he does say they do change up every now and then. At Common Sense 107, he's got Man of Steel, Shazam, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, BVS, Justice League, Suicide Squad. At K Gilstrap 13 has gone Wonder Woman number 1, Shazam, Justice League, Aquaman, Man of Steel, Suicide Squad, and she's got BVS in last. I know a few more of these guys. At Chris _ Kringle 3, he's gone BVS, Man of Steel, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Shazam, and then Suicide Squad. So he's got Shazam very low on his list. At Real Chase,
that's what you like, doesn't it?
Yeah, at Real Chase Smith, he's got BVS, Man of Steel, Shazam, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League dead last. And always hold on to Smallville's Zachary Moore, and he does a podcast called Always On to Smallville. And if you're a Smallville fan, you need to listen to it because it's fantastic. And he goes through every episode of Smallville and does like a full-on review. So he has ranked him number 1 Shazam, so he absolutely loved it. Aquaman number 2, Wonder Woman number 3, Man of Steel 4, Justice League 5, BVS 6, and Suicide Squad dead last in 7th. So I would say pretty much across the board, most people think Suicide Squad's probably the worst one, or the least favourite at least. You know, maybe they still like it. I personally like all the movies in the DCU. And my ranking, because I'll just jump in and go first. Number 1 for me is Man of Steel, and I don't think anything's going to knock it off. I'm a little bit biased because I prefer Superman to all the other heroes, but that film to me just meant a lot, and it gave me a lot of stuff that I always wanted to see in a Superman film. Number 2, I've got Aquaman. Number 3, I've got Wonder Woman. For me, Shazam, slightly under Wonder Woman. Just slightly. Maybe that'll change on rewatches. I don't know yet. I've only seen it once. I've got BVS in 5th, and I've got Justice League 6 and Suicide Squad 7th. And much like one of our other entrants, I would probably say, depending on my mood, I swap Justice League and BVS as well. So that's my ranking. So do you guys want to give yours? I don't know who wants to go first.
I'll jump in. Sorry, Ryan.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Like guess to last. I'm just going to say before I give my ranking that we've rated these, and I don't think these will go in the order of what I rated them. But my order is more about entertainment value and how likely I am to watch them an additional time.
You've got to remember as well, bro. Like, you change your mind, don't you, when you watch stuff?
Yeah, so. I think if you watched all 7 movies within a close period of time, be able to rank them all. But there's even a couple of while we've been talking that switched around. So
well, we could, we can always come back and do that someday. So
yeah, but right now I'm going to go Aquaman number 1. Thought it was a great movie. Shazam number 2, 3 out of 10. Didn't make me laugh. Justice League number 3. Again, I actually think that's underrated. And it made me laugh a lot. Again, entertainment value. 4's Man of Steel. 5 is Wonder Woman. 6 is Batman vs Superman. And 7 is Suicide Squad. The one thing I would say is, if you were putting them in order of what I thought was the best movie, Wonder Woman and Man of Steel would probably be would be at the top. Them two, they're probably the best of them all. But in order of how I see them entertainment value, how I see whether I want to watch them again right now. Aquaman, obviously, I really want to watch it again. So I've seen it once. Same with Shazam. So I know I'm going to watch them again, so that's why they're in the order they are.
So yeah, I think you can as well. You can say you can know something's a better film, but it might not necessarily be your favourite. I always say with Superman and Superman 2, like I think Superman 2 is actually probably a better film in some respects than Superman 1, but I think Superman the movie is I got it wrong around. Superman the movie is a better film, but I think Superman 2 is probably more entertaining.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that's kind of things like that. It's kind of a similar sort of.
I got you to watch a film called Turbo Kid, didn't I? And I wouldn't say it was the best movie of all time, but I'd say it's one of my favourite movies of all time.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So, Ryan, do you want to give us our list and then we'll sign off?
All right, I'm going to say that this list is just kind of my closest attempt to something concrete.
Were you going to say wrong then, Ryan?
It says shut up. It's as close as concrete, but still off the top of my head because, like you guys said, a lot of factors can make movies kind of switch around on the list and whatnot.
So it's a list you haven't laminated. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think I'll ever be able to just laminate it and be like, etch it in stone is what I'm trying to get at. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I would have my list kind of be Aquaman number 1, because I felt that movie was just like almost perfect and flawless across the board as a superhero movie. Yeah. As a superhero movie, as a DC movie, and as an Aquaman movie, I think it was just perfect. Batman versus Superman is number 2. I would have Justice League as number 3. Wonder Woman 4, Shazam 5, Man of Steel 6, and Suicide Squad 7. Now, I say that to me, I love all these movies. I think Suicide Squad might be the weakest, but if I was doing whatever out of 10, the lowest, like Suicide Squad, I would give it like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. So I still think very highly and love all these movies, but I just think that Aquaman, BVS, and I'm not gonna apologize for loving Justice League as much as I do, because is it the best? There's a difference between best and favorite. Is it the best? Yeah. No, but it's also the first ever cinematic live action movie featuring all my favorite superheroes together, and that alone is why I love that movie so much.
Do you know what I think? Because I think they've all got different strengths. Like, I think Suicide Squad of all of them's probably got like the best like characters. Like the way the performances, the characters, like the story's not great. Like the interaction between the characters is absolutely fantastic, and probably the core strength for that film. And obviously, I won't go into every strength for every film.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't have worked without that, really, would it?
I feel like they've all got their own things, like their own strengths. So for me, I think that's where DC is. I'm not to do the Marvel comparison, but I feel like some of the Marvel ones feel a bit samey, whereas I feel like all the DC films feel really different. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
Yeah, totally.
I think there's a lot of variety in the DC films. So, So I guess that wraps us up then, doesn't it? So, Ryan, do you want to plug and let people know where they can find you and all that sort of stuff? And...
if for whatever reason your listeners want to come at me for having Justice League as in my top 3, I had
it in mind.
Which I guess according to majority of DC EU fandom, it has to be like the absolute last or whatever.
See, and I had it low on my list, but I absolutely love that film. So there you go. You're right.
It is not perfect at all, but there's a reason why I saw it 10 times in theaters. So, I am on Twitter at the Amazing Rye Guy.
Do you want to plug your podcast as well?
Oh, yeah. I always forget I'm on other stuff. Weekly, I'm with Adam at Superhero and Sci-Fi Musings with Adam and Ryan. And then once a month, I team up with Adam and Travis at Tales from the DC Multiverse, where we discuss, kind of do like a DC graphic novel review once a month.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. And I am a international correspondent on that show. But I also have started a new show of Adam on wrestling, and it's called Way Back Wrestling Mania. And we launched that last week, so we're going into the past of wrestling, and we actually watched the most recent WrestleMania. And if I have my way again, I'll never watch a current product WWE thing, but I'll definitely looking forward to diving into the past with Adam there. So that's me, and you can follow me at SteveBob1984 on Twitter, and you can also follow the podcast at MBP Movie Pod on Twitter as well. So Dan, do you want to plug your Twitter and maybe tell people where they can find the show? Because
I'm not plugging my Twitter. I don't.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't really do Twitter, but
do you want to plug where they can find the show, seeing as though you know what we're on? We're on a few different things now, aren't
we? iTunes, Stitcher. I was thinking you meant Twitter handle. I was thinking, what is it?
No, I did say you want to give your Twitter handle out, but you don't seem to want to.
No, I thought you meant the show's Twitter handle.
Oh, no, very good.
Yeah, well, there is a little update on our films, isn't it? We've finally got the last scene done of Jessica, so
yes.
That should hopefully, it'll probably be later on in the year,
We should hopefully have 3
we've
films
got
coming out
3.
in the year.
Yeah.
All being well.
What are we on about? Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean. I think that's about it, really. I think that's all of them.
I thought we were on some. Is that was it Stitcher the other one we were on? Then?
Yeah. I got us on there. Yeah, it's
see,
on
I tried
there.
to plug it on way back WrestleMania, and I literally couldn't remember what we were on. So
yeah, it's Stitcher, iTunes, and Podbean. Yeah, I think we're on some others, but that's not me putting them on there. They're just picking them up from iTunes.
Right. Okay. Cool. Right then. I guess that's us then. So long, everybody.
All right. See you later.
Take care.
Boom.
Cool.
Another one in the bag.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
I think the news lasted longer than the review.
Well, I knew we had a lot of news, and I knew that Star Wars trailer would be like a big topic, and I was actually looking forward to talking about that more than Shazam.